So
What what license number did you get?
71391.
Up in the sevens. Very cool.
Yeah, up in the sevens. So it doesn't look like you're trekking through any woods today, huh?
No, that's a good thing. Yesterday was rough because all the two tracks I
Yeah.
normally use were snowed in yet. And
Oh
yeah,
man.
I got a lot of miles in yesterday, but
Yeah.
it's melting fast. It's raining today.
Oh,
Is
well,
it? Yeah, I think we're supposed to get some heavy storms here in southeast Michigan later tonight. So,
yeah.
let me see who's on. Vivian, hello. Haley, hi. Thank you for joining today. And Mitch, I see you're here. Sweet.
And then just so you guys know, we are going to record this and then potentially use it to be able to post later.
Yeah, I love that. Good deal.
So Zach, do a really good job because, it's important.
All right.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
I was just going to give it a few more minutes and
Yeah.
we can get started. So,
Yeah.
hey, Cam, thanks for joining.
Hey Stacy, how are you?
Doing good. Got a party today at the company office. So I'm like trying
I
to
better
get
be
my,
blasting Creed.
yeah.
We're not having a party. How are you having a party?
Yeah, headquarters, I guess, they
Oh,
just treat us differently.
yeah, I see how it is. Well, I'm gonna march right into my boss's office and complain now.
You should. Yeah, we got like coney dogs and
What?
really good dips and charcuterie board and cookies and all the good stuff. So, yeah.
I always knew you guys had all these secret parties.
And we had donuts this morning because it's pay week.
We had bagels, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think I'm gonna have to come visit y'all more often this summer.
Yeah, I know. Yes. I'm happy you are returning this summer, right?
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, you're gonna have to come into the Auburn Hills office for sure.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know when y'all are having food again. This sounds
It is. It's good. Oh. Well, I guess it's a few minutes past. I'm sure people will kind of trickle in, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So, just first off, I'm going to introduce myself and obviously say thank you for everybody who's attending today. I really appreciate your support and being interested and to hear what YSN is doing, what we're planning on, and how you can get. And then later Zach's going to talk about how you can get licensed. So I just appreciate everybody hopping on. And I'm going to introduce myself just in case some on here don't know me. My name is Stacy Pollock. I am a newly licensed land surveyor. I am the state coordinator for Michigan YSN and also the secretary of NSPS YSN. I do have a special guest here today, which is Cam. Cam Lowe is a licensed professional in Texas. He is our current president of NSPS YSN. Cam, if you just want to say hi for me, you kind of already did, but
Hi. No, no, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, Stacy.
yeah, thank you for joining. So, yeah, I've been doing YSN probably for the last 3 years now, and we're kind of going to go through like where we started and where we are now. So, just want to introduce myself and say hi and thank you for joining. And I will get started with the presentation now. Let me see. I'm more of a Teams girl, so I got to figure out how to share my screen. Uh, Do I have that? Oh, here at the bottom. Duh, it's staring me in the face. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right. Oops. All right. So again, my name is Stacy Pollock, newly licensed surveyor, state coordinator of Michigan YSN. So thank you all for joining. Today we're going to be discussing what is MSPS YSN, where we started and where we are now. I'm going to get into our 2026 initiatives and some upcoming events we have. After that, Zach is going to get into the pathway to licensure and what that looks like in the state of Michigan. So what is Michigan Young Surveyors Network? We are an affiliate of NSPS YSN. That's generally how some of the young surveyors across the country work. Their committees or chapters, they're an affiliate to NSPS YSN. And NSPS YSN is an organization that's dedicated to the network of young surveyors, and it's modeled off of FIG, a Young Surveyors Network, which is more of a global scale. So we're kind of like it's an umbrella, I guess, if you want to think about it, like NSPS, and then you have your state YSN. So that's kind of where we are. We're an affiliate to them. We do share the same vision and mission statement as them. So our vision statement, as you can see, we're working together to promote the profession. We're working to engage young surveyors and stay connected. We want to connect and we want to remain active. So something that I think is important to touch on is also why we exist. We want to create a welcoming community where young surveyors can gain mentorship, confidence, and belonging. And making that statement ties back into that vision statement and just kind of shows like this is what we're trying to accomplish. And our core message as a society, which piggybacks on SPS YSN, is we want to help young surveyors build confidence, find community, and have a voice in the survey world. A lot of times, younger professionals maybe are not in organizations or voicing their opinion. And I think it's important that us as a society or an organization, we do that just because we are going to be the next, the next surveyors coming up. And we want to make sure that our voice is heard and, we're connecting and staying together. So in 2022, we started off with 8 members, and just this past, I think in March, I just updated this number. We're at 75 members now. So I think we've been doing a really good job with promoting ourselves and trying to get people involved and sign up. We really had a good jump from the 2022 to 2023, which is from 8 to 33. But then we've been on like a steady incline since then. And I want to continue that growth. I want to see a lot of young surveyors in Michigan, licensed and not licensed, just be a part of the group and know that, we're here, we exist. We want to get together. We want to, bounce ideas off each other, share our experiences, and just grow as an industry and profession. So we're at 75 members right now. I'm hoping to see that continue to grow, which I think it will, just based off of, what we're going to discuss as far as like initiatives here in the next couple of slides. So I'm going to share some photos here. So on the top left, that's our first, I think, like social. That was back in 2023. I had a really good turnout. The next photo is going to be our Great Lakes camping trip. That included some Wisconsin folks there that are standing next to me, some of the girls. So we kind of did like a multi-state trip. And then the other 2 are some of our socials. We had a baseball outing with some engineers. I can't remember. I think it's ASCE is the Transportation Engineers Organization that we went out with. Some youngster, YSN. We did like a co-outing. And then the bottom right there is from a social, I think a couple years ago, but just getting really good turnout and making sure that we're out in front is good. Some more photos on what we've been doing. So this top left one is, I think, a recent, also last year, I believe, the social that we had. The top right is my buddy Mitch. He's also newly licensed. We went to Construction Career Day as young surveyors and helped MSPS with that. And then the bottom left is our recent camping trip. We camped out overnight at a DNR site, and we kayaked the Osable River, which was a lot of fun. Got good feedback from that. Probably going to do it again this coming summer. And then the bottom right there is our euchre tournament, which was really great, and I loved it. A lot of networking, and I foresee us doing something like that again in the future. Really good turnout too. So thank you everybody who has joined these events and shown your support. Some more photos. Just so Matt, actually, Matt Janowski, I'm not sure if he's on today, but he attended the Yay! Hey, friend. So he attended the NSPS YSN spring meeting and student competition for the first time last year. He had a great experience. He wrote about his experience in an article that got published by NSPS, YSN, and MSPS. I encourage you all to read it just to see what it's like to go out. It's a great time. You meet a lot of people from across the country, young surveyors that are just like you. If you're not going as a student, definitely talk to me about going as a representative of MSPS. But it's a great experience. Like I said, you meet a ton of people. Basically, what Matt and I were doing, where we were helping coordinate the student competition, as you can see in the photo on the right there. That's Matt. What team did you have, Matt? I can't remember. I'm sorry. Was it Cali or Cal Poly?
Cal Poly Pomona, I think.
Okay, so he's out on the monument hunt right now, and that's one of the days for the competition. So they have to have, I guess, a supervisor, so to speak, with them. And Matt was one of the YSN members that did that. And in the photo, they're taking a photo of an old monument that is one of the monuments they're supposed to track down as like for points, right? So it's a competition where people, like teams, schools do exercises one day, field exercises, and another day they do a monument hunt, and we tally up points at the end of the day, and we rank them from first, second to third place. But that's going on also. I mean, we do it every year. It's spring competition, but Matt went for the first time last year, had a great experience. I've gone the past few years. Great experience. I love it. And ultimately kind of not forced me, but like pushed me into getting in at the national level, right? Doing a little bit more than just the state level. So really good experience. And then the two photos on the left, the top one is, again, another NSPS YSN meeting in fall. This was also in conjunction with FIG. So there's young surveyors from South America. I think we had somebody from Africa, but it's the FIG, it's like a global organization, right? So we had young surveyors from across the globe coming to this event, and we all got to network, bounce ideas, because surveying is not the same as it is in Michigan or the United States versus, in Africa or South America. Very different. So it was interesting to network with them. And then the bottom left photo there, we went to the initial point in October, and we went with the Southeast chapter. They typically do that yearly. It's a great experience just to see like how Michigan was laid out and to see those huge monuments. It's pretty cool. So just some things that we've been doing, and we'll get into what we are wanting to do for 2026 initiatives. So we want to increase membership, and we thought a good way to do that is maybe invite some members to participate in some leadership roles and assign delegate roles for MSPS. So they kind of go together. So one is increased membership, right? You guys seen that. we are steadily increasing in members, but we want to continue that growth. And we think we can do that by defining leadership roles. So in YSN, MSPS YSN, so we want to assign a president, a vice president, and a secretary role. I think right now, kind of, we've got a president, VP, and secretary, but actually kind of writing out those roles and responsibilities and having something in writing is kind of what we're working on. So yeah, look for that. If you are interested, maybe in the next year to be joining on those roles, let us know. But we'll have something a little bit more concrete on like responsibilities, and there'll be more to come on that. Thirdly, so for our initiative, we want to start hosting quarterly meetings. This is going to be our first one, which is really exciting. The quarterly meetings are going to be focused on membership benefits. So today, Zach's going to be talking about the pathway to licensure. I feel that that's a benefit, just so everybody's aware what the requirements are for Michigan. And in the future, we'll have additional meetings, and not quite sure what those topics will be. But again, we want to have these meetings that align and give memberships benefits. So we want to increase our digital presence. So that's posting on LinkedIn, sharing what we can, but just staying relevant and providing content to membership and to our, our supporters. So, and lastly, increasing involvement kind of goes hand in hand with defining leadership roles and increasing membership. Something that's extremely exciting, I think, is that we want to assign delegate roles for MSPS committees. So the committees, if you don't know, we've got legislative committee, we've got education committee. We're working with MSPS to have delegate roles specifically to help those committees, which I think is great. I think YSN needs to get more involved in MSPS because, again, the younger professional, our voice is important, and we're the next generation of surveyors. So we need to make sure that we're getting in the mix, so to speak, as soon as we can. So we're working to get that. And then we also want to assign a student chapter liaison. So for Ferris and Michigan Tech and Northwestern, we would like to have somebody, and they don't have to be a student, but somebody that would be a liaison with the student chapter. So MSPS YSN is in like constant connection with those student chapters, like, hey, this is what YSN's doing. What is your student chapter doing? We can promote each other. We can work together and essentially just keep YSN moving forward. And then lastly, something that I didn't put on here, but which is extremely exciting, is we're working on getting a YSN member that is licensed to be a part of the board of MSPS, and still kind of seeing if we're going to be a voting member or not. That's going to be up for discussion. But YSN did have a discussion with MSPS board about having a licensed YSN member be a part of the board. So I'm looking forward to that being developed in the next year. And again, looking for individuals that want to help and participate with this, being in leadership responsibilities or being a delegate in helping the MSPS committees, like I listed before, or being a liaison for these student chapters. So these are the things that we're working on, and we're hoping to get some involvement there. Oh, you know what? Last but not least, we are also going to be working on a state exam study guide. So I know, and that's probably going to go hand in hand with education committee for MSPS. Just for me getting newly licensed, I kind of had to work a little bit harder to get some of the study material. It was there, but we want to create something that's a little bit easier to attain for our members. So we're going to be working on that as well, and looking for help. Anybody who's newly licensed, feel free to reach out to YSN. We'd love to hear your feedback and some of the study material that you used. So let me see. So lastly, upcoming events, kind of TBD. Like I said, we got a really good feedback on the kayak trip, but We know we want to kayak on the Au River. I think we're thinking of staying. Matt, did we say we were going to stay on the east side, or were we thinking of kind of going to the west side of the Au River? I couldn't remember.
I think it was undecided, but the Australian definitely worked last year.
Huh? That's okay. Yeah, you're kind of breaking up. That's okay. I wasn't sure what side, but regardless, the Au River, so kind of a medium for participants, right? It's not too far south or too far north. And then typically we go in July or August. So this is a TBD, but just keep it on your radar. We'll be promoting it. It's a really good time, a lot of fun, and we typically look for sponsorships. So essentially, the cost would be free. You would just probably need to bring food and drinks, but it's a good time. So look out for that. And I hope you can join us. And I think that's pretty much all I have. I put in a little cute, well, not cute. I put in a nice quote at the top there, and then you got a QR code that's going to take you to our webpage at MSPS. And that's the way you can join. I do want to make a note, if you are going to join, for YSN, you need to be an MSPS member. So I think there's some dues associated with that. But once you pay your dues for MSPS, there's not a there's not a due or a payment for YSN specifically. So we are labeled as like a special group. You should be able to just sign up once you are like an MSPS member. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Zach. He's going to be talking about the pathway to licensure. So very happy and interested to see what he has to say. Zach?
All right, thanks. Queuing up my screen here. Perfect. Hopefully you guys can see that information. As Stacy mentioned, my name is Zach Baker. I'm on the board of professional surveyors for the state of Michigan, and being so it's the Young Surveyors Network, a lot of you guys have either just gone through this process or you're actively getting ready to hopefully sit for the exams. This is the state's website here, and if you're not familiar with it, you're going to find that you're going to get familiar with it pretty quick. Start out on the top of the page. If you're going for your license, there's a couple of major links that you want to be aware of. The first one's the Professional Surveyor's Licensing Guide. We'll get to that in a second. And the other one is how to apply for a professional surveyor license in Michigan. Again, we'll get to that. If you scroll down to the bottom and you want just a kind of cliff notes of a few things, the frequently asked questions page. Before we got to the meeting today, I talked to some people down at the state, and they said that if you have any questions, this bplhelp@michigan.gov is the email address to use. So if you can't find material, have a question on how to fill something out, need any additional information, this is where to start. Go to the bplhelp@michigan.gov. They'll get you to the right person down there and make sure that you get all the information that you need. As far as that, another question that you might be wondering is, seals and stamps. All that information is right here. Will I receive a seal? What are the seal requirements? You can click on the link, and if you want to see what your seal is supposed to look like, in case you haven't seen one, it shows you right there. This must be substantially similar to this. It has to have your whole license number on there. Back when I got licensed, you only had to have the last handful of digits. I had to get new licenses now, new seals that look similar to that, and have all the 40010 and then your license number on it. Now back to the main page. The how-to guide is right here, and it's basically a slideshow presentation that Laura set up. It's a great thing to start with if you want to figure out how to use the website, navigate through all the tabs and buttons. It'll walk you through step by step where you go, how to create an account, and you can scroll. I won't go through read through the whole thing here because it'll literally tell you how to set up everything, how to continue the application, where to go for data, how to apply for the specific license. But the more important one is the professional surveyor's licensing guide. By the time you go to apply for the license, you've already been through all the steps that are in here. You've taken the tests. The main components of getting your license are three parts. You've got your education, you've got your experience, and then you've got all the tests that you're supposed to take. So in scrolling through the professional licensing guide, it lays out, what applications you have to take, the boxes you're gonna have to check for all applicants, and then getting into the testing specifically, additional requirements for licensure. You've got the NCS council record. If you want to see any information about the tests you have to take that are administered through NESIS, you click here. And this takes you to their website. And then you've got your options for which exams you get to check out. For surveying, you've got your fundamentals exam and your professional exam. When I took the test years ago, you had to have your bachelor's degree, you had to take your fundamentals exam, your professional exam at the national level, and then your state principles and practices exam. That was only offered once a year. You guys have got it set up a lot better now to where it is pretty much as frequently as you want to take it. And one of the other big differences, they decoupled the exams. When I was taking them, you had to kind of flow your way through. You had to take one to be able to take the other one. 5 or 6 years ago, that changed, and now you can take the exams independently of each other. So if you go to the fundamentals exam, you can get, again, it links you to the fundamentals of surveying exam, gives you an outline of the questions. And if you want some more criteria on the fundamentals exam to get into exactly what's going to be covered in case you haven't taken it yet, this would be where I'd go to start putting together a study guide. It'll let you know what information will be on the fundamentals exam, some outlines of the questions, and it'll give you a spot to start to figuring out what you're supposed to study. Again, that also applies to, if we go backwards, the PS exam. So if you're getting ready, you've already passed the fundamentals, or you're taking them out of order and you just want to study up for the principles and practices exam, same layout as the fundamentals exam. And down at the bottom, you've got your specifications. And when you go to the specifications here, you can start to read through what you'll be tested on. So you'll have your principles of evidence. It breaks down where you're at. Now, some of this information is going to change here. Anything related to the public land survey system will be covered on a separate test and won't be on the NCES exam in the next couple of years. The exact implementation of that, I'm not sure of, but what's going to happen is they're going to have a public land survey system specific examination available through NCES. That, instead of requiring that exam to be taken in addition to the professional practices and the fundamentals, that's all going to be handled at the Michigan Principles and Practices exam. So we'll make sure that that material is all tested on that. So there won't be a big change there. You won't have to take a fourth test, essentially. Back to the PS examination questions. If we jump back here from the NCS site, then that covers the fundamentals and your national principles and practices exam. You can keep going down through the document. You've got your professional education, your experience, your examination. And again, this is where the link to the NCS site is. So you can start to get your study materials for that. For your state specific exam, NCS doesn't administer that. It's done through PSI. You can go to PSI, it takes you to their homepage. You can say, I'm a test taker. The easiest way I found to find the Michigan test is choose Michigan over here and just search surveyor. Oop. And it should load, and it takes you to it loads up this page. Of course, surveyor being S is down towards the bottom. This takes you to Laura's site again, but through PSI, and you can take a look at the available tests. There's your Michigan professional surveyor. So this is your state specific exam. And if you click on that, you've got all your information for anything you need to do for applying for the examination through PSI for your state specific exam. You can read through it. Again, if you have questions, they've got help tabs for contact us and help. More importantly, as I heard Stacy mention it, is trying to find information on the exam, putting together study guides, this is PSI's equivalent of what NCES had that I showed everybody there just a little bit ago. Here's your bulletin from PSI. You can scroll through it and read up on all the rules of taking the test, site locations. There's a calculator policy in here. Pretty much anything you're going to need to find for information on the test, number of questions, and then down towards the bottom is, again, here's your items, Michigan laws, principles of the profession, public land survey system, and it gives you all the criteria for where they're at. If you haven't started to save these documents yet, it's something that you'll come back to. I think if you talk to anybody that's gone through the licensing process, they've all got their file of state rules and regulations and books that they keep referring back to. This is not the last time that you guys will ever need to look at it. You pass the test, it's your starting line essentially for keeping up with the profession. And you'll go back to those materials over and over and over again. If you're looking for a spot to find this information, say you wanted to go find the occupational code, the drain code, natural resources, any of these public acts, on the state site, again, going back to that, at the bottom of it, you've got your administrative rules, which will relate to the occupational code. You've got the regular occupational code articles 1 through 6. If you haven't gotten familiar with the Michigan legislature website, search Michigan. I can do it quick. Your Michigan legislature, it'll take you to Michigan legislature site, hopefully. And if you're looking for any of those bills under the compiled laws, so anything that on that other page that had the MCL listing, you can type it in there and it'll pull up the PDFs of anything that you're looking for. And that's a great resource to try to find, make sure you can download the most current PDF of the acts and any legislation that you're looking for. And we go back to the Michigan website again. This is, again, going back to the professional licensing guide. As you scroll through it, we covered the NCS information, the PSI examination information. So that'll cover your testing, the exams, the last couple of components for, let's see, right here, helpful resources and forms. You got your occupational code, your administrative rules and professional surveyors, your experience form. So when you guys need to account for your experience, this is where the link to the form is, and you can make sure that you're got this printed out and can get it to anybody that you're using for working under their supervision. This is the form you'll need for that. And that pretty much will run you through all the tests you need to take, your experience component, your educational component. They talk about uploading in the other help guide that I had up earlier. And I was pre anything online for a lot of that stuff, so I haven't been through that process real recent, but looking at how they've got it all laid out in the presentation they have, it looks pretty straightforward to upload and make sure everything's there. At that point, I've given you guys a really fast flyover of a lot of this information, and I'm happy to answer any other questions there for things, but at least at a 10,000 foot level, this gives you guys a great spot to start and putting together all your study guides and going through the application process.
Hey, Zach, would you be able to share some of those links in the chat since you got them up?
Yeah, I can do that, or I can send you when we get done. Would it work to email it out? I mean, I can put
Sure.
them
Yeah, that works
out
good.
real quick.
That's good too. Yeah.
Yep. So I'll send
I
you an
was,
email with some links.
yeah, I was wondering if we could go through like the educational requirements.
Yeah.
And
Let's go to, should just go back to the state's website. I find it back here again.
I thought I saw it pulled up on one of your
Yep,
tabs.
I had it and I just lost it in all my tabs.
Happens to me.
It's covered up here. Here we go. Here. All right, educational requirements. The best thing to do for those is to go through the administrative rules. And of course, it's not going to link me to that. Let me just go grab I'll send you a PDF of it. But more importantly, here is how to professional experience licensing guide. Let's just do it like this. Licensing and regulatory affairs. All right, you guys are getting a crash course on how to go find everything. Be able to find surveyors, professional
There it
surveyors
is.
rules. All right. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. Maybe some of you aren't. The occupational code is what governs surveying. You've got articles 1 through 6. When they think that there needs to be clarifications for the occupational code, they put out what's called administrative rules. So they're clarifications, some more details on what you need to work with. These are the administrative rules for surveying. And here's your educational requirements. And if you need help on these, again, that BPL help site that I showed you under the frequently asked questions is the best spot to go to make sure that if you need an audit for one of these items, that they're the ones to talk to. I can show you some of what it reads and what's there, but specific interpretations and questions, that's where you're going to want to run it down with them if you don't have a specific bachelor's degree in surveying. But this is where it all shakes out. So under this Rule 201, an applicant for licensure shall provide proof as directed by the department verifying one of the following. And you've got options A, B, or C. Option A is transcripts verifying the applicant received a bachelor's degree or higher in surveying, accredited by any of the following. So then you've got a couple of options. So you've got your ABET accredited schools. Some of the other acronyms I'm not as familiar with. Your option number 2 is an NCES credentials evaluation that verifies the applicant received a bachelor's degree or higher and satisfies the NCS surveying core program requirements found in the NCS surveying educational standard. NCES, if you search that very thing, will take you to their 2025 NCS educational standards, and it'll let you know what type of credits you need for that core program. And again, that's where they tend to do a lot of the evaluations. So if you have questions, if you've got a bachelor's degree in engineering or something related, and you're looking to go that path, the best thing you can do is contact them, give them a copy of your transcript, say, hey, I've got these classes, and they should outline where the holes are, if you're good, if you need to pick up a few more credits. That NCES surveying education standard bulletin is great. It's got a lot of information on there. It outlines your math specifically, if I remember right, and what type of surveying classes and credits you need to fill in the gap. And then C is a credentials evaluation that verifies the applicant received a bachelor's degree or higher in surveying from an educational program that is substantially equivalent to, and then it goes through the criteria that are up there. So those, as far as education goes, that's where you're looking at for a bachelor's degree or equivalent. Again, for testing for the license, you need 8 years of experience. You can use a bachelor's degree as 4 of those years. Furthering your degree, like a master's degree, you can use 1 year of that. So you can have 5 years worth of education, but that's the maximum you can get. And then you still have to have 3 years of experience. And again, that I just rattled through right there is all under professional surveying experience, verification, educational rules for experience. And it says, hey, you've got to have 8 years of experience, 5 years of education, but then it breaks down further, under the supervision, where you're at, and it's all outlined right there. The administrative rules do a pretty good job of outlining where everything's at. Again, the not more than 4 years, I guess it doesn't do me a good point to the screen, but the not more than 4 years of professional experience for a bachelor's degree for one yeah. So that's all you can count for if you're in school for longer than 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, you're only counting the 4 years. So hopefully that helps Stacy with a little bit of the educational criteria. A lot of it is deferred over to NCES for their credentials evaluation. If you're going with a path, I had a bachelor's degree in surveying, so I didn't have to do the NCES evaluations, but that's where it says, hey, go talk to them. They've got a great site up again, and that's where you'd go to start getting your audit and make sure things are lined up.
No, that was great. I appreciate you going through that. That was exactly what I was looking for. So does anybody have any questions on what it kind of takes to get licensed, or any questions for Zach right
You
now?
answered a lot of them that I had. Thank you.
All right, Matt, thanks.
I thought he would have, Matt, because I know you had some questions about the education and the years experience and stuff like that. So I'm glad that helped.
And I'll make
Yeah,
sure to send Stacy some links and the things like that, so you've got them handy.
one question I have, which you this might just be something I need to ask them specifically on, is does internship experience in college, like working during the summers, count?
I'd ask them for that to make sure. I think I did not include that time when I did it, but that was 21 years ago now. So it might have changed on that one. On that nuance, I'd defer to them to ask and make sure everything's okay. And I think
So I'm
Stacy,
sorry. So the question is, like, Matt, while you were going to school and interning, right? So you're seeing if it would count like as double.
Yeah, so like the 3 months in the summer where I'm not going to school, but I am working,
Oh,
doing a
okay.
surveying job, does that count? And I don't really know.
I
I
thought
think,
it did, but yeah.
yep, that's where I don't have the specific answer for that one. I wish I could interpret it for you, and I would have to defer over just to make sure I didn't give you the bad information on that.
Yeah,
And
sounds good.
Zach, you're saying we're gonna have to ask Laura to find that out?
I would recommend it. I
Okay.
could give you my opinion, but just be my opinion. It probably wouldn't do you any good if I was wrong. So I'd want to ask them specifically, like, hey, because that opens
Sure.
up a question of if you're in school, but you're maybe taking night classes, you got your bachelor's degree, but you're essentially working during the day. I don't know how all the overlaps work and the nuances of them. So I don't want to give you bad information. Hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions? That was a good one. Any questions about YSN, the initiatives, or licensure? Anything? No? All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all I had as far as going over YSN. And Zach, thank you for hopping on with us today to go over that. I think a lot of people probably benefited from that information. So even though I just went through the process, I learned something. So I appreciate it. If anybody doesn't have anything else, keep your eyes open for a follow-up email. We'll send some of these links that Zach mentioned. And we will be sending out something asking for some help with some of those delegate roles and leadership roles. So if you're interested, let me know, and we will get our kayak trip scheduled eventually, and we will probably be scheduling another online meeting here soon. So if you have any topics you want to talk about as well, please let us know. But again, thank you everybody for joining, and I hope you enjoyed today, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Thank you,
Y'all have a good
Stacy.
afternoon. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.